Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
It's the beginning of the end.
Da, da, da.
Final season begins. That angers me that he can't fold that pizza.
I had the same note. Wait, do you not like that part of the movie? Because that's the movie.
No. I thank God every day I know the lyrics to Enter the Sandman.
After brutal dumping. No, that sounds terrible.
After I took a brutal dump.
Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the film simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy our podcast, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Find us. Our podcast is available on all platforms with a backlog of over 175 episodes for your listening pleasure.
I just realized that we got rid of the hidden gem part of the...
I usually just add it in, but yeah.
I must have. When did I write that out?
2 or 3 seasons ago.
Wow. I'm surprised. I wonder why I wrote that out. I mean, whatever.
I add it in sometimes I don't.
Yeah. Oh, hey, what's going on?
Nothing. I think this is our last regular movie episode.
It is.
And I think I understand. Like, you chose the Mel Gibson one for last, right? Just because it's Mel Gibson, you're like, listen, if we get any blowback, it doesn't matter. It's our last episode.
Why did you do that movie with Mel Gibson? Is this our first Mel Gibson film?
This is our first Mel Gibson film.
Oh, wow. I mean, we've talked about him before. I didn't even think of that.
I'm pretty sure this is our first one. He was such a big star back in the day.
He's still a big star. Granted, it's not as bright as many others, but he's still a big name.
He's a name, but he's kind of a direct-to-DVD name now.
No, that's not true, because I've seen him in a lot of stuff that's like, it's more like
boss level.
Boss level. But like, he did that one where he was the madman and the mathematician, or the something like that, where they were building the dictionary, the first dictionary, him and Sean Penn or something like that.
Wasn't that also a streaming movie?
No, it was VOD. It was VOD. Yeah. So,
VOD guy.
Well, anyways, we are doing this week. We're doing the 1997 film Conspiracy Theory. So we'll get into that. We'll get into the show, and then we'll end this episode. Okay. New York City cabbie Jerry Fletcher is an expert on paranoid conspiracy theories. He is also infatuated with government lawyer Alice Sutton, who permits his attention because he once rescued her from a mugging. However, when Jerry is captured and put through psychotic tests by Dr. Jonas, he realizes there is an actual conspiracy. After escaping, Jerry enlists Alice's help, but she wonders whether he has uncovered a real threat or is just insane. Did you see this in the theater? I always usually ask that after.
I've never seen it in the theater, but I've seen it before.
Okay.
Well, a while ago.
Yeah, me too. All right, so Conspiracy Theory has a runtime of 135 minutes. Ooh, rated R. Production budget somewhere between $75 and $80 million. It was released on Friday, August 8th, 1997. So it was a summer movie. Opening weekend, it did $19.3 million. Domestic, $75.9. International, $61 million, for a worldwide total of $136.9 million. So mild hit. If you're including
worldwide and stuff.
Yeah. Well, if you're including whatchamacallit?
Oh,
advertising.
Advertising.
Production company was Silver Pictures and Schuler Donner / Donner Productions, distributed by Warner Brothers. So it came out on the 8th of August, 1997, and went up against in a wide release Free Willy 3, The Rescue, and How to Be a Player. I don't ever saw The Rescue. I don't remember it.
No.
The week after, the 15th of August, you had a wide release of Event Horizon, an episode we did a while back, Copland, and the movie Steel, and a limited release of The Full Monty. Very good film. The week before,
Steel, right? You talk about Steel?
Of course. Yeah, of course I'm talking about Steel. Is that the one where he says, I've been dipped in shit and rolled in breadcrumbs?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. August 1st, you had a wide release of Spawn, Air Bud, and Picture Perfect. The first Air Bud, we found its release date. The first Air Bud. And a limited release of In the Company of Men, which is a really good film. Spawn is, I know that people wanted that to be a great film, but it was less than, I would assume.
I like Spawn.
Yeah.
But it's not a great film. But John Leguizamo is phenomenal as the bad guy.
Gotcha.
I actually saw that at the Fourplex. That I remember seeing.
I worked there. Hey, I probably was there working, because that was 97. So that's about, 4 years into me working there. Interesting.
I was 10.
This film was directed by Richard Donner, who's done Superman, Lethal Weapon, and The Omen. This is written by Brian Helgeland, who's done Payback. He won an Oscar for his writing for LA Confidential, and he was nominated for an Oscar for Mystic River. Cinematographer was John Schwartzman. He was nominated for an Oscar for Seabiscuit. He also did Armageddon and Jurassic World Dominion, but let's not hold that against him. Composer was Carter Burwell, who was nominated for 2 Oscars, 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, and Carol. He's also done The Founder and The Banshees of Inisherin, which I was wrong. I told you that it was on Disney Plus section HBO Max. I was wrong. I apologize.
Because on the bottom of the IMDb page for Conspiracy Theory, they're advertising.
Banshees of Inisherin. It's HBO Max. I'm like,
and when is it coming?
I'm going to tell you this. I watched about 45 minutes of an hour of it, and I had to shut it off because I was going to bed, but I was just like,
no,
I don't know. Listen, I know everyone loves it, and I'm not saying it's not good. It was late at night, so I'm just like,
oh, it seems like a kind of a boring movie.
It was.
Yeah.
It's
like a play.
In no fault to the movie. It's probably more so I'm watching it too late at night, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
it's not a late night movie.
Right. I have to go back to it. Anyways, edited by Kevin Stitt and Frank J. Uriosti. Stitt has done Jurassic World, Paycheck, and X-Men. And Uriosti has done, he was nominated for 3 Oscars for Basic Instinct, Die Hard, and RoboCop. Produced by Richard Donner and Joel Silver. Donner has produced Maverick, Demon Knight, and The Goonies. He's also directed Maverick, I believe.
Yes.
Silver has done, amongst other things, The Nice Guys, The Matrix, and Die Hard, and not much else recently, for those who know. Mel Gibson plays Jerry Fletcher. He has won 2 Oscars for Best Director and for Best Picture, which he was the producer for the movie Braveheart. He was nominated as Best Director for Hacksaw Ridge, and he also is in Lethal Weapon and a bunch of other things that you probably, from the 80s, that he was all over the place. Julia Roberts plays Alice Sutton. She won an Oscar for Aaron Brockovich. She's nominated for Steel Magnolias, Pretty Woman, and August Osage County. Patrick Stewart as Dr. Jonas, and at one moment, Mr. Finch, but he's really just Dr. Jonas, no first name. We all know him from Star Trek, The Next Generation, and X-Men, amongst other things, right, Butler?
That's right.
Steve Kahan as Wilson. He's in most of the Donner films. He was the police chief, or I guess the police chief in all the Lethal Weapon movies.
The police chief.
He's always in mostly Donner films. He's not in anything else. Terry Alexander as Flip from the 1985 Day of the Dead and House 3, the horror show. Alex MacArthur as Cynic from Kiss the Girls and Desert Hearts. Dean Winters, which I couldn't find him anywhere, plays Cleet.
What?
Exactly. He's in, but I couldn't tell you where he is, but he's there.
Okay.
Silas Cozart as Lowry from Eraser and 16 Blocks. Bill Henderson is in there real quickly. Sean Patrick Thomas is in there, but I can't find them. There's not a lot of people in this film.
Danny Glover's in it for a little cameo.
But there's not it's like just the Gibson, Robert Stewart, and then maybe Kahan, but then everyone else is just faceless people.
Potts has a decent role in it.
Which,
no, not Potts. No,
Lowry, Lowry, the guy that they keep knocking in the head.
Lowry,
yeah, I guess. But that, he doesn't have a lot of credits. That's what I'm saying.
He doesn't even have a picture on IMDb.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, it's a smaller, very contained movie.
Yeah, but for what seems like it should be a big film.
I imagine a lot of the budget went to paying Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts.
I would
because it's Mel Gibson at the height. And then everything is shot in New York City.
Well, that's probably a lot of location stuff.
That's gotta be expensive.
Yep. I agree with that. There are some stuff. They do some stuff with the helicopter when they're chasing them. They got the stuff in the room where he just burns his whole entire set.
That's true. Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So that's probably where a lot of the money went. So I guess we always start with you. Give me some first reactions here.
Well, I had seen this movie a long time ago. I think on VHS. My parents had bought it, and at the time I was watching a lot of Mel Gibson stuff because I liked Mel Gibson. I still like him as his movies as an actor.
Canceled.
But yeah, no, he's a douchebag, or he's got a lot of issues, I should say.
Hey, come on, Butler. That's not fair.
Be more politically correct.
Be more nice. Be more understanding of the complexity of human beings.
He has his issues, his demons.
Yeah, which we all have.
Some more than others.
True. Very true.
So I was watching a lot of Mel Gibson stuff. So my mom had a 3-pack because she used to be in love with Mel Gibson. She had a 3-pack of a VHS of The Man Without a Face, the one where they live forever.
Forever Young.
And then one more movie as well.
This one? Conspiracy Theory?
No, it was romance movies. So there was 3 of them.
Forever Young.
I couldn't tell you what the third one was.
A Man Without a Face. Rather romance film. I'm picturing it. The Year of Living Dangerously. That's not a romance film.
I honestly have no idea.
Signs? I'm just kidding.
They were all like younger, older, slightly older ones.
Okay.
But whatever. So I had watched those and I liked those. I actually like Forever Young and Man Without a Face. Because I was getting to the age where I was really into movies and stuff like that. So I could watch some of those kind of things.
Bird on a Wire?
Without getting, it might have been. Whatever it was definitely not, I definitely didn't like it as much as the other two because I don't remember it at all. So I started watching some of those. So I watched Ransom, and Ransom is also just okay.
Yeah.
It's got some good moments. And Conspiracy Theory, my mom was like, well, you got to watch this one. I got it, but it's okay.
Mhm.
When I watched it, I think even when I was younger, I was like, it's okay.
Right.
And I'm watching it now and I'm thinking, it's okay.
There's some disconnect issues for me. But
yeah. There's a lot of, I don't know if it's contrivances or just like conveniences that happen within the movie.
Right.
To keep the story going and to have the heroes win that I just don't really like that much. And kind of take me out of the movie. But I do like I like Mel Gibson in it. I like his he's playing a little bit against type, being like crazy. He does get a little kind of action hero-y in certain places where I'm like, all right. But I do like that he's playing against type as well, like, yes, crazy. I mean, that's not against type, I guess, but playing a little bit like less of like he's crazy. He's not your typical like the typical kind of character that would lead this film, even if someone else was playing him. Jerry is very much unhinged, and while you're watching it, you're kind of like, Jerry's kind of nuts. Even if he is right, he's still kind of nuts. So I like that part of it. I like Julia Roberts is pretty good in it, and I like that it's shot in New York City. A lot of it. I like the look of that. I like that it's actually New York City, although it's supposed to be October 1st and everyone's wearing scarves and jackets. It's like, that's not October 1st in New York City. That's like what Los Angeles thinks is cold in October. The New Yorkers are not wearing.
Well, they're outside though. I mean, maybe it was cold.
People wearing scarves and gloves and hats.
Maybe it was cold.
He's driving a taxi. The rain's
1st.
Actually freezing to the windshield. So I don't think they were filming in October. But that's
when
fine.
they were shooting? Oh,
yeah, because he says it's October 1st. It's like, that's not what October 1st would look like. But yeah, I like the look of the movie. I like the location of the movie, and I like the character of Jerry. But I think a lot of the end of Julia Roberts' character, whose name escapes me because I'm terrible at names. Alice
Sutton.
Oh, that's right. Because
your name escapes you. I say it. I said it. I told you in my notes, in my facts section.
Everybody knows that when you start doing your facts, I kind of
you just start drinking your coffee and fall asleep. It's great. It's great. I wonder why this podcast is ending. So this was shot. They started shooting this October 14th to February 7th. So there you go. Yeah.
Maybe some of that stuff.
And basically everything's the exception of the cemetery scene. And I guess there's the movie theater that Jerry goes into hides. Those two are in LA. Everything else is New York. Right.
So, I mean, I like that. I think that's cool. Because we talk about it a lot. Like, you can't fake New York City. The people that live around here. Like, you can use Toronto a little bit, but not much. And just shooting in Times Square, seeing the construction going on, actually being there within the traffic, it just really kind of takes you and puts you into the movie.
Sure.
And I really enjoy that. But
plus, I mean, I didn't scan too much, but you can see people watching, staring at the camera.
Oh yeah, in the background.
I think for my biggest thing with the movie, well, to go back to Jerry, one of my notes is if this, I said, I doubt someone like Jerry would be this good looking, not smelly, not gross. Like, what I mean?
I have a note that said like he probably smells.
He is the most well put together, unhinged, paranoid person. They wouldn't shower. It would just be, I mean, maybe that's where just conditioned to
There's nanobots in the water. I can't shower.
Exactly. One of my notes, and they talk about it often, is they talk about people and they talk about cases. They talk about her father. In the beginning, when Jerry is pulling over and he notices the flooding and he asks the kind of guy like, hey, what's going on? And that's when you kind of first see the people coming out of the building because the building flooded.
The feds, yeah.
And then flash forward 20, 30 minutes later into the movie, maybe even longer, he's talking to Alice about it. Down here, this was flooded. And they said, check his lungs. The guy drowned, but it probably...
You're all of a sudden getting all this information.
There's all this,
makes no sense.
So there's all this stuff about people and cases and other people that we have not met. We don't know what he's talking about unless you're paying attention just to his dialogue. And it's like, it's very hard to kind of connect with that, to that story element, because I don't know what you're saying. I don't know who these people are. I'm not really concerned.
Yeah, I guess there's a quick clipping, like a newspaper headline that you see at the beginning,
right,
that talks about the guy drowning. But it's completely out of nowhere, because you also get the NASA stuff and you get this and that. So you don't know what conspiracy they're actually dealing with, what's going on. And it's all just like, oh yeah, they flooded this rich guy, which, like you said, is that conversation in the subway is over an hour into the movie.
Yeah. And those plot points, those little things that you're talking about in the beginning of the movie are introduced in asides, in him rambling, in character explanations, but that's it. And then they become major factors in the third act of the film, like her father being murdered by Jerry. It's like all I'm thinking about, think about Captain America. No, which one was the one where Captain America kills his father, Stark's father? Was that, or not Captain America?
Civil War,
but they're going flashbacks. You know, they show that stuff.
Right.
They don't show anything. They don't show anything where Jerry's there. So I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about any of this.
With her father, you do get the idea that it's going to tie into the plot because they mention it a lot of times.
Sure, but I want to see
Jerry
it.
into it until later.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, it's one thing, like show, don't tell. It's one thing if this was a play, okay, fine. But this isn't a play. This is a movie. You need to show me, there needs to be some doubt about Jerry's character. Like, I need to see Jerry there with a gun thinking that he killed her father.
Yeah.
Her father. Yeah. So stuff like that. And as soon as I heard the story about how he saved her from a mugging, I'm like, obviously he's been he's stalking her.
Stalking her the whole time. Yeah.
So that didn't make that. I knew that. And when it came later on as a reveal by Jonas, I'm just like, yeah, duh. So I guess what we were just talking about is probably my biggest issue with the film is that there is a disconnect between myself and the story.
I agree. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I like Mel Gibson. He's good in it. I like Julie Roberts. They're good in it, but their performances don't elevate anything else. Like, I'm given like all the plot point and all that stuff is not interesting enough for me to stay with it. Like the whole conspiracy angle, the Dr. Jonas stuff.
Not interesting because they just give it to you all in one big chunk.
Right. Right. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like MK Ultra has been used way too much in films.
Yeah, but I still find it like infinitely interesting. I love government conspiracies and stuff like that.
But this one feels like it's thrown in there to just cut. So you're going to be like, oh, okay, and then like that's it. They just that's all they give you.
There's two big dumps of information. When Dr. Jonas gives Julie Roberts like half truths,
yeah,
which is mostly the truth. He just hides some things and says that Jerry killed. The only lie he says is that Jerry did kill her dad, Alice's dad. And then, but he talks about all the MK Ultra stuff. And then in the subway, Jerry just espousing all this stuff to Alice. And then also in the farm, which we don't need, is that Jerry became such good friends with her dad and blah, blah, blah. I don't need that. No one needs that.
I don't need that. And I'm going to tell you something else I don't need. The romance angle. I don't need that at all.
I didn't remember that, she kind of falls from. I thought she kind of goes her own way, which they kind of do.
They do.
But it's definitely still like, oh, I care about you.
No.
He's still insane.
Yeah. No. I hated that. I thought it felt just fake and phony. And it was just like, oh, this is what you do in movies. You have the female lead. I get it. You have Julie Roberts, Mel Gibson.
Right.
You have to have that sexual tension. I don't need it. It makes the movie just infinitely worse.
He's a really creepy, crazy, like you said, probably smelly, older crazy guy. She's much younger than him and a cop, and like all put together, not even a cop, like part of the Justice Department, and all put together. It just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Which we talked about in the last episode I edited with one of the relationships.
Take Me Home Tonight.
Yeah, Take Me Home Tonight. How Topher Grace's character would never go out with the bank lady,
right?
The banker, and then we talk about how that's the same in Speed with Keanu and Sandra Bullock, and it's but
at least in Speed they say it.
They admit it, so it's probably not going to work out.
Which almost makes Speed 2 like believable more because they didn't stay together. Yeah. Like you know what I mean?
And then Collateral, we talk about it as well with Jamie Foxx and Jada Pinkett Smith's character.
Yeah,
it's not going to work out.
Right.
And, like movies that try to make it seem like it is are just lying to themselves. And in all those cases, well, maybe with Speed is the exception because it is just like a flat out action movie.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need it. You didn't need that in Collateral. You didn't need that in Take Me Home Tonight. Which Take Me Home Tonight, to be fair, they never said they're going to be together. They're just going to go get a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. All these kind of like contrived romances don't need to be in the movie to make it better. I would prefer if Jerry actually did kill Alice's father.
Mm-hmm. And
I would prefer if, they don't get together at the end. I'm also okay with Jerry dying at the end.
Yeah. I didn't understand, like, is there going to be a conspiracy theory too? Like I didn't get why he survives.
You're gonna
because he's Mel Gibson.
Well, the other thing is you're gonna tell us everything, and all of a sudden he's got his whole memory back, pretty much.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, I remember most things, not everything. Where did this come from? Being on the farm?
Yeah, that's exactly. So
remembers everything.
But all of a sudden now it's like he is a commodity. He's an asset now for the FBI, right? Because they need to know more about Dr. Jonas's experiments. Because
they wanted him alive.
How about I need to know more about Dr. Jonas's experiments? I don't even know what's happening.
I don't understand that. There's a real wasted opportunity as well to have Dr. Jones, like to have these other MK Ultra guys go after Jerry. Where are these other guys that he's programmed? Just send them after Jerry.
Well, they make this. They talk about John Hinckley. They talk about the Catch and the Rye stuff and Mark David Chapman. All that stuff. They talk about how they always have the book with them. Okay, that's fascinating. Really all that stuff is fascinating. Yeah. But then give me that movie. Just give me all of that.
There's not enough with that. Right. Yeah, because he's still obsessed with Catcher in the Rye.
Because whatever this movie is less interesting than the stuff that you've used for background. Just to toss out there for background, that's more interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do a movie about MK Ultra, then do it. Like I always think about this, and I don't know. I don't know if this was the reason why it happened, but the X-Files episode where all the what's his face who plays Candyman is burning people alive, the veterans, because they had these experiments. Yep. Like that was infinitely more. Was it MK Ultra they were saying, or was it stuff like that? But
there are two, because there's the fire guy and there's the one where they don't sleep.
That's the one where they don't sleep. Yeah. And that used that, and that was interesting, that whole episode, because it was about that. Yeah. This is just
this is more about just Jerry.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's because it was written for Mel Gibson or they got Mel Gibson on and they just kind of made changes. I don't know about anything with the script. It was just I just couldn't connect with the story. I just couldn't connect with the story at all. One of my notes is that I called it conspiracy theory, the beginning of QAnon. because as he starts expounding the conspiracy theories in the beginning, I'm just like, I'm fucking tired of hearing about these. Like,
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Nowadays, it's too much.
I'm just tired of it.
I was thinking the same.
I don't want to hear it anymore. I just don't want to hear it anymore.
The fluoride in the water. You know, I have to put the fluoride in the water, right?
Yeah, I know. Just come on.
I do like in the beginning. I do like that he's like when he keeps talking and he looks in the back seat. And there's nobody in the back seat. Who am I talking to? Did I have some? Why? Why is my meter on? But that's another thing. He's so crazy.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden he's not as crazy.
Yeah,
it didn't make sense. And
there's a couple other things. These might be nitpicky things, but so when he takes Alice back to the apartment because they're on the run, right? Let's go back to the apartment.
His apartment, yeah.
Right, we learned that they still stopped to get his papers. Like, so you stopped to get your newspapers, even though you were like being chased and you were trying to hide out, but you had time. You're just gonna go stop and get papers. All right, fine, whatever.
Obsessive compulsive. I need to do it.
Yeah. The fact that at the end, it's very lucky how she finds him.
Oh, you know what I mean? Hate that. I hate vents.
Well, not even that. She sees the smokestacks, and so she goes there. Why do you think to go to a mental hospital? Like, why is that your assumption that he's hiding out in the mental hospital?
Yeah, why wouldn't he be in the factory?
Right. Why isn't it some abandoned factory and then the vent stuff where she kind of hears him and they start singing? I'm like, this is stupid.
Because at first I thought that's where he was the factory.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the vent stuff sucks.
And it's so lucky that she hears him.
Yeah. That's where's my note? Oh, I just put she can really hear him through the basement. Yeah. The vents of the large hospital. That's ridiculous.
And they start singing a song that I want to say that's the first time I heard that song.
It's the second time that
he's doing it himself.
I don't think he's doing it himself.
Do they connect with it at all? With
no,
that's what I'm talking about. It's like that kind of stuff.
But also, she's saying it's her, but then they have to sing to make him realize.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
And also, she goes back to Jerry's apartment during that to try to find him.
Yeah, it's not blocked off. Yeah.
First of all, with these guys being how good they are at their job, or supposedly good they are at the job, that apartment would have been wiped clean already. They got all those desks out of Dr. Jonas's apparent floor to the office.
That day. Yeah.
You couldn't scrub Jerry's apartment clean. There would be nothing. That would be a finished, done.
They would be investigating. They would have taken even though everything's burnt and everything's toast. They would have taken stuff and try to and see what they could salvage.
Oh, I would imagine
they would have taken that board that he put up.
Everything would be gone, and that would be an empty apartment already, all cleaned up.
On the board is the smokestacks, and they would see we got to get rid of that.
The smokestacks, the guy they had just murdered, that Erickson guy or whatever.
That makes no sense. makes no sense.
It would either be cleaned up or there would be guards all over it. She would never be able to get past.
Yeah, no.
She's not a secret agent. It just makes no sense.
Exactly. Let me tell you what else makes no sense. Two things. One, he doesn't know how to wear a Yankees hat. He doesn't know how to wear a baseball cap. It looks oversized and up. He doesn't it looks bad. But number two,
he actually does that in Lethal Weapon too. That might just be how Mel Gibson wears hats.
Number two, he's from New York.
Yes.
He gets a pizza slice.
Oh, he doesn't fold it.
He doesn't fold it.
I thought the same thing.
I'm looking at going, do you not know how to eat that pizza? Like nobody from New York would eat that pizza like that. You were eating that pizza wrong. And that angers me. Almost to the Corey Feldman Burbs anger of the first episode we've ever done. Angered me that he didn't know how to eat that pizza. That angers me that he doesn't fold that pizza.
I had the same note on the pizza. I'm like, why are you eating pizza like that?
Yeah.
While you're driving too.
Yeah. Fold it.
And also that is not like authentic New York pizza.
Well, it's a big slice. So I'll give it the big slice aspect of it because
Yeah.
it's a big slice. But fucking fold the pizza because you are not from New York.
It's undercooked and it's too much cheese.
Well, yeah, obviously. Well, it's also cold. It's also
That's
delivered
true.
to her.
You can tell it's cold. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, no, because it's still hot because he asked if it's hot.
Well, he's lying.
Also,
We
there
also
were
didn't see the
toppings-
bug.
There were toppings on that pizza in the first scene, by the way.
But he also
And then it
doesn't-
says plain cheese.
They also put the bug in the middle. So here's the thing. They bug the pizza.
Oh, it's on the pizza circle.
Well, not even that.
Well,
They
it's
bug the
underneath
pizza. It's directly in the middle of the pizza. So no matter what slice he picks,
He's always going to see
see it. Wouldn't you put it under a slice that's close to her and make sure he doesn't take that slice? Just make sure. Like, why do you put it in the middle where no matter what he picks, he's going to see it?
Also, pizza boxes are folded over. That's how they work, the sides. So put it in the side of the
Why not
pizza
put it
box.
under the box? I just like,
And he doesn't see it somehow. And he doesn't hear her dialing on that big ass cell phone. There's no silent mode on those cell phones. You would hear eep, boop, boop, bop, boop,
So
boop, boop.
but that's a car. So here's the thing. That's a car he stole. That's a car he owns.
They don't explain about it.
So what do you think? You think it's a car he owns or
What are they
steals?
What are they driving at first?
Her car, right?
No, he's driving.
He's
from the
driving
start.
another. He's driving
So
another
he's
car.
driving a car, and then he picks up another car that he's left there
Yeah,
on things.
yeah.
But he does talk about how he has money stashed away for a rainy
So I'm
day,
assuming that those are his cars.
I guess.
So he has a cell phone in his cars. He doesn't want to be tracked, but he puts a cell phone
That's
in
her
his car.
cell phone.
No, I thought
She
that
took-
was part of the car.
No, that's her cell phone.
Okay,
She takes
okay,
out of her
good. All right,
pocketbook.
fine, thank God. Woo. Thank God. So would you have liked this if Jodie Foster was in this movie? Because she was offered the lead.
I saw that note.
They're really good friends. Her and Mel Gibson.
Sure. I like Jodie Foster. I think she's a fantastic actress. I don't think she could fix what's wrong with this movie.
No,
But I think she would do just as good a job as Julia Roberts as the character.
But she turned it down to make Contact, which is the right choice.
Absolutely.
Because Contact is great.
Yep.
I love Contact.
So yeah, I think there were also there was somebody else from Mel Gibson too, right? Wasn't it offered to somebody else?
Oh, I don't
first?
know. I didn't have that note. Might be the first time that I have this thought about this movie is that I need more people in this film. I need more recognizable actors in this movie. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe I shouldn't say that. I need more supporting characters, not just faceless guys chasing them.
Well, that's the thing is they need other Jerrys coming after them. They need to activate other people.
Like in the Bourne Identity and that stuff.
And show me like that. Exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Show me that Catcher in the Rye novel. There's no way if Catcher in the Rye has been used since the 60s, they didn't have internet or computers. You couldn't scan, someone bought this based on the ISBN.
That moment,
like,
yes.
That's why everyone's got Catcher in the Rye. That's the big reveal. That's a terrible reveal.
It is. It's
just to keep tabs. I got to know when they're buying the book.
Someone bought it. It's like, you don't know it's him. You're in New York City full of millions of people. You're just going to assume one purchase is him.
There was no internet in 1969 for Lee Harvey Oswald. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, I know. That's a good point.
When that was the thing, I was like, that's stupid. And then the Whisper helicopter comes down in the streets. It's like, all right, it's Whisper helicopter, but everyone saw that fucking helicopter. There's
I know.
no way that's not making the
everyone
news.
can feel that wind.
Yeah. Helicopters don't land in New York City ever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's making the news. That's everywhere.
Yeah. There's
one dude.
See, and that's, I mean, it may seem like I think that we're nitpicking the movie, and we are, but that's because when the bigger elements fail, the story, we can't connect, then we just start tearing it apart because now everything we've got a problem with. You know what I mean? You know, I think we've talked about films where the stories end, but the characters are like Lockout are really good. And you know what I mean? That's good for you. You like that. And here it's just, it's okay.
That's the thing is like, I would rather watch Lockout because I like the character rather than this where the characters are all right. They're good enough, I guess. but the story also falls apart.
I think the characters in this movie rely on the plot a little bit more than maybe in Lockout and in other films. Like the plot, like because
the characters are so good.
Like the movie's called Conspiracy Theory. That is Jerry's whole thing. You know, and like I can't imagine that at the end of the film he's going to get better. Like he's still going to be doing this stuff.
That's why they wouldn't work as a couple as well. But yeah, he's still always going to be crazy. He's still always going to see conspiracies. Maybe even more now that one of them was proven correct.
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing, too. Was he a conspiracy theorist before Dr. Jones got him, or did Dr. Jones make him this? Was he a trained assassin? Was he in the military?
Well,
what is his background?
In MK Ultra, they took mostly people that work for the government already.
Right.
But they also took some people off the streets. But they don't explain it.
No, they just throw it. They put it out there so that it almost like does the work for you in terms of like puts you in the mindset of, okay, I know what they're talking about.
The other thing is the conspiracy that they keep talking about in the movie up until you find out about this drowned guy that all of a sudden
the earthquake stuff
is the earthquake and NASA causing the earthquake because they want to kill the president.
Yeah.
And it turns out that's not the conspiracy.
No.
But then why am I being inundated with this earthquake NASA nonsense?
I don't know.
If it doesn't pan out. And at the same time, that would make more sense because the stakes for killing a rich guy and drowning him, we don't know why they did it. We don't care why they did it. It's not. I would rather the conspiracy theory, even if it was just a dump, was about like saving the world or saving America or saving the give me some stakes.
Well, think of the movie Rising Sun. It's a Rising Sun, the one with Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes.
Yes.
Was it Rising Sun?
Yeah.
That's a mystery that they have to solve. It's a contained mystery. Like this movie needs a contained mystery, not an overarching grandiose thing that he is unlocking something. Like it needs a contained mystery, like maybe the billionaire getting drowned that we never meet. So I just think if a contained story would maybe make me more interested.
I agree, but I need to care more about the case.
Agreed.
I don't care about a rich guy getting murdered.
Agreed.
Like I need to know that he was working on this, or like I said, the president thing. Just you got to make it. You got to give bigger stakes, or I need to know. Which, if that was a more contained mystery, I would probably know why this billionaire was a big deal. But as it is, it's like, so you burst some pipes in a subway to drown some dude. Why do I care?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Did you see the note about how Richard Donner met the screenwiter, Brian Helgeland?
Oh, I did. Yeah. Holding up a sign that says, I'm a screenwriter looking for work.
We'll write for work for money.
Yeah.
And then like they struck up a conversation and he gave him a chance. It's like, my God. Is that all it takes?
Yeah. He ended up writing LA Confidential. Assassins.
I love LA Confidential. And I actually like Payback. I know that
I have to watch Payback again. I was okay with it when it first came out, but I think I might like it now more.
I think they re-edited it too, though. So I think there was some issue with Payback. Payback. Paycheck's still with Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
There was some issue with Payback that I can't remember whether it was Mel Gibson re-edited it or something. Something happened.
So it makes a little bit more sense now.
No. Like when the movie was done, something happened with the movie towards that. I can't remember the facts around it. I'm sure someone's going to correct me. But something happened where there was some kind of little controversy for the movie. So when it came out, people were like, "Oh, it's going to be terrible." And I liked it. I liked Mel Gibson in that.
It's okay. But I guess this guy also is one of the only writers. Brian Helgeland is one of the only writers to have both a Academy Award for writing and a Razzie for writing at the same time.
That's fun.
And he's one of only 4 people to accept his Razzie because he got the Razzie for The Postman, which The Postman wasn't great. I don't know if it was the worst screenplay that year.
The best thing about The Postman is the joke from The Simpsons when they had the commentary by Kevin Costner apologizing for the movie. I'm sorry. That's funny.
The electronic.
But no, you're right. The Postman is just long.
It's just boring.
Really long. But Postman's got decent moments in the movie. I can point to a few moments in the film, but like it's a long film. So I get it. I think people were just kind of tired of the big Kevin Costner epic films. Because I mean, I like Tombstone, but I really like Wyatt Earp, the one with Kevin Costner and Dennis Quaid, who plays Doc Holliday. But that's just me. But
I prefer Tombstone, but I've only seen Wyatt Earp like once.
See, here's the thing.
I wasn't like really paying attention.
Tombstone's got some great moments, and I like Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. But like you being an actor, obviously, I think you would like Dennis Quaid's Doc Holliday better because Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday is really good, but it's like
too over the top.
It's very it's very
theatrical
out there.
Yeah,
and Dennis Quaid's Doc Holliday he's doing a lot. and I think you would appreciate it a little bit more.
I'll watch it again.
But both performances are great, and both movies are great. The Tombstone's great. I love, tell 'em I'm coming and hell's coming. That's a great fucking line, and I love Tombstone, but I think White Herbs gets crapped on because you can like both. Like, I think that's the idea.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so back to the movie. Did you notice that he says IMF? So are we saying
he does
the
say
Impossible
IMF.
Mission Force is part of this world?
I thought the same thing. I was like, that's not a real thing.
And the other reason why I'm bringing up the IMF is like, did you see Tom Cruise jumping out of that plane?
I was going to send that to you because I had sent you the day before he did the jumping out of the plane thing. But then they had the
motorcycle thing. We jumped. I saw that stunt like in the trailer. So
they showed it in the trailer and they
didn't
talked about it. But that was like the first time you actually saw the stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Well, I didn't want to watch it. I know what you're talking about. I didn't want to watch it because I just want to watch the movie. I was starting to get like, I don't want to see too much.
They don't show what the actual scene looks like. They just show it like from going off the ramp and all that.
Yeah.
But it was just like 1,800 hours of jumps. And
nice. Let's do it again.
Well, that's what he does the jump and he's frightened. He's really scared to the jump. And he goes, I think I can hold on to the bike longer. And he does it to say he did it 6 more times. I'm like, holy crap. So yes, the IMF does exist.
So
his name is Tom Cruise.
Yeah, exactly. Ethan Hunt, yo. They should just now have Mel Gibson come back as Jerry in the last IMF movie.
Mission Impossible. The show is real.
You know what? This is one of those movies that it's forgotten, and I think it's forgotten for like the right reasons. And I think if you say something, I saw conspiracy theory. Oh, I remember that. But like, I don't think people ever really want to go back to it.
Well, why did you put it on the list?
Because I thought I liked it. No, I think because I remember. Did I put it on the big list?
You put it on the big list. Because I always remember me thinking this movie is just okay.
I think because it was a 90s Mel Gibson movie, I think I remembered parts of it, but I'll be honest, when I watched it, there was a lot of stuff I did not remember.
Here's the thing I remembered the most, and it's because it's the only scene I really like, and that's the scene where he first gets captured.
When they drown him, they're putting him in the water?
No, when he gets the tape on his eyes.
Yes, that's the scene we're talking about. Yeah, they put him in the water with the tape on his eyes.
They put him in water?
They push him back. Yeah.
You're right. Yep. Like the cartoon's going off and then he's because the whole thing is very Sam Raimi Evil Dead.
Sure.
And I just think it's really kind of kooky, creepy, and has some action in it. And I think that would have been a better movie. It's such a different style than the rest of it.
Yeah.
Or if they went with that silly style, because in the hospital it's a little silly too.
Yeah, with the oatmeal on his face and stuff like that.
Yeah, so like they do a lot of silly crap at the beginning, and then they kind of get a little bit more serious as the movie goes.
Yeah.
And I think if they kept the silliness going, I would like it more because then it's like, okay, because this is kind of like a slightly more an action comedy or an action thriller kind of movie.
Right.
So, or comedy thriller. And I think I would have liked that better.
Mm-hmm.
Like biting
his
Dr.
nose.
Jonas's nose is gross. Seeing the cartoons going like, seeing the two versions of him in the hallway, but it's really the other agent and him. I thought I like that and interesting. And it doesn't look like your typical Donner film either.
No, I think it feels like it action wise, but yes, it doesn't feel like yes, agreed.
It's very crazy and kind of plays with your mind, which I think if you're going to just deal with like the conspiracy doesn't really matter. It's all about Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should, as the audience, feel a little disconnected like Jerry does, which that is the only moment where that really happens.
Yeah.
Other than us really not knowing what the hell's going on.
Janet Maslin, the New York Times, who loves everything. I'm joking. The only sneaky scheme at work here is the one that inflates a hollow plot to fill 2.25 hours while banishing skepticism with endless close-ups of big, beautiful movie star eyes. Gibson delivering one of the hearty, dynamic star turns that have made him the Peter Pan of the blockbuster set makes Jerry much more boyishly likable than he deserves to be. The man who talks to himself and mails long delusional screeds to strangers is not only using the dreamboat type after the story enjoys creating real intrigue, it becomes tied up in knots. As with way too many high concept escapades, conspiracy theory tacks on a half hour of hasty explanations and mock sincere emotion. And the last scene is an outright insult to anyone who took the movie seriously at its start. She's referring to when Jerry sees her riding on the horse. I mean, that's pretty much what we're saying. I don't know about the delivers one of the hearty dynamic star turns. I mean, it's his role is his performance is good, but I don't know if it's memorable like that. You know what I mean?
No, it's a notch above. Like it's where Riggs would have probably went, like the craziness.
Right.
But yeah, it's good, but yeah, it's not one of his most memorable.
No.
I do agree that like that Peter Pan thing is like true. Like that gives Jerry more boyish charm than he needs. Because like we said, he should be a little crazier.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be interesting for Jerry to be the hero, but Jerry needs to A, die, and B, not be with Anne at the end.
Yeah, no, it's the Alice. Yeah, no,
Alice,
it's
right.
stupid. Mick LaSalle from the San Francisco Chronicle says, if I were paranoid, I might suspect a conspiracy at work in the promoting of this movie to suck in an audience within a catchy hook and then give them something much more clumsy and pedestrian. I agree with that big time. Roger Ebert also called this, it cries out to be a small film. This would be a really good indie without the action. Like just an indie
the action
paranoia.
Too high,
I think once it starts, I think that maybe that's a lot of the issue too. It wants to desperately be an action film, and it's not an action film story. You know what I mean? It wants
to be a summer movie, and it should be a fall movie,
right? And plus, when you bring on Mel Gibson in the 90s, you're expecting action. Yeah, you're expecting an action star. You have an action star in this film,
which I think is kind of what happened to a lot of Bruce Willis movies back in the day as well. Like movies that didn't need a lot of action, get more like Mercury Rising, where I really like the plot, I think has too much ridiculous action.
That's when the kid is autistic and he can read numbers or something like that. He
uncodes, CIA documents.
Right.
But again, that ends up having a lot of action that it would have been better more as a thriller.
Yeah, I think when you start, you're right. When you start putting action stars in, but like, I will say this, that like, when you have Arnold Schwarzenegger in films like Jingle All the Way and Kindergarten Cop, those movies that are supposed to be comedies, the action in there makes sense, like because it's within the plot.
Sure,
it's not, those don't feel forced. I mean, at the end of Jingle All the Way is ridiculous, but it's funny because that's what you want at the end.
It's a kid's comedy Christmas,
right. So,
but this starts itself as a serious thriller, or maybe even like with a little bit of humor mixed in.
Right.
It's not an action movie. Then all of a sudden it becomes an action movie.
Right. So, I mean, would you recommend this to people if they were like revisiting Mel Gibson movies? I mean, I'm telling them what all Lethal Weapons, but
I mean, I would start with Lethal Weapon. If you're more like a drama guy, I guess I would look like Man Without a Face or Maverick.
Or Braveheart.
Braveheart's really good if you can sit through the whole thing.
Braveheart's really good.
Maverick's really good.
I love Maverick. Maverick's one I think that people don't talk about enough because it's such a good movie.
I'm pretty sure Maverick's on the big list.
It probably is.
Maverick is really good. Like like Mad Max.
Oh, of course. So you're basically, there are probably like 10 to 12 films that you're recommending to people. Just primarily like, I like Mel Gibson movies, not this over this film.
Yeah. So this film's not bad, but it's just there's so many more memorable. He did so much work in the 90s.
Oh, of course.
There's so many more memorable Mel Gibson.
80s, 90s Mel Gibson is white hot.
Yeah. And it's so many different genres.
Yeah.
I would probably say if you're looking for a movie of this ilk, when he tried to like slowly slide away from action, maybe. Like, I think Ransom is better than this. Payback is better than this. I've not seen
Ransom in forever.
I haven't seen it in a long... I did watch The End not long ago. It was on at my parents' house, but I still think this was a better... Like, I was never a huge fan of Ransom, but I think Ransom is a better movie than this. And I think that...
Gary Sinise.
Yeah. Mostly because Gary Sinise.
I'm trying to remember who else was in it.
And the girl who kidnaps the kid is really good.
I can't remember anybody in that film.
The girl who's the main character in The Haunting.
Monet. Rene Russo.
No. That's the mom.
Lily Taylor.
Yes.
Delroy Lindo. There we go. Leif Schreiber. Anyways, good.
So that and Payback, like you said, Payback is a little bit more fun as well. And edited a little weird.
Payback's like a revenge film too. It comes back to get the people that... if you're looking for something a little
different from Mel Gibson, I just think this is pretty low on the list.
I will say this: if we're talking, it's not a Mel Gibson film, but a film that I really like more and more is Signs. Is damn. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's not bad. But like, I really like Signs. When I keep watching it, it's on. I'm just like, oh, this is really good.
I put Signs on the big list because I think people don't appreciate it. Because I think the thing people talk about it now is either they talk about the water angle.
Oh, they don't like it.
They just don't like it because the water angle. Like, we talk about ridiculous twists, but it's like the rest of the movie is great. I have never been more like tense during a movie than the basement scene when the flashlight drops.
Yeah.
And then you get the kid.
And you see the arms come out.
I was gripping my movie theater chair going, oh, the kid's going to die. The kid's going to... And like, that movie is phenomenal.
I think that, that's a movie that, and I've read notes about it too, where if you have any kind of question whether Gibson can act, that's a movie where he has to be so introspective.
Yep.
And it's a movie where, and he talks about how there was so much going on that's inward, that it's a movie that he's never, it was one of the first times like dealing with that kind of thing. It was very hard for him to do. And he had to learn how to just kind of like, because it wasn't an action film, and he does it really well. It's got a nice scene at the end. It's got a nice moment at the end where they do that shot where they pull out, and clearly the snow is green screened in there, but like, you know what I mean? They come over and he's back in his
priest outfit.
It's just, it's a really good film. I think it's overlooked often. I love Unbreakable. We're talking about M. Night. I love Unbreakable. I love The Sixth Sense. I love the first part of The Village, and I love the Signs. But yeah, no. Anyways, we're talking about Mel Gibson film. That's where we went there. So where are we saying that? Why are we saying that this movie, Conspiracy Theory, is forgotten?
Because too many people get knocked on the head and get knocked out. They knock out more people.
I do like that part, but I do like that with Lowry when they're like, "Are you faking? Are you really?" Are
you pretending? Yeah, yes, okay. And then he has to hit him again. And then when she hits him, sorry. Everyone says the sorry.
I do like that, because a lot of times in movies when people get in the head, they're out.
Just knocked out.
So I do like that moment, but go ahead.
They do it too much in this movie. That's why it's forgotten. I think, like we said, it's a small cast, and like Mel Gibson's the only real guy in there.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't help it. He had huge star power in 1987. This movie made money, but even then it didn't make a ton. I'd be interested with the takes of like other movies like Ransom and Lethal Weapon, like 4. Probably was around 1997. Like the movies, but that's also got the Lethal Weapon, fan base to watch it. Like, what other movies did in comparison to this?
Lethal Weapon 4 was 98.
98. How much? Obviously, that made a ton of money because it was Lethal Weapon.
That made that budget's 140 million.
Whoa, double this one.
But it made 130 domestic, 285 total.
Yeah, like that's making a ton of money.
Yeah.
I would imagine Ransom made more. I would imagine Payback probably did less than Conspiracy Theory.
Ransom was 96. Ransom did 136 domestic, total 309.
So yeah, still more. So I think people just kind of dropped off. I don't think this movie had good word of mouth for a lot of the reasons we're probably saying.
Well, that also shows you how bankable of a star Mel Gibson is at this time.
Right.
It's not just, we're not playing lip service to it. And we're not, we get it. There's other things that we already kind of referenced in terms of like what his personal life.
Yeah, we're talking about 90s Mel Gibson.
But his career, yeah. So Payback did 81 domestic, 161 worldwide, has a budget of 90 million. So I mean, that did okay, but that was 99. So that's probably towards
So I mean, I think that's one of the reasons. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Patrick Stewart. Jean-Luc Picard all the way, but he's not a bankable star. And that's another thing of like the sci-fi movie curse. Like once very few people can escape that. Once you're a well-known kind of mythology actor, it's tough to get out of that role because you become such an icon.
He's also 3 years away from X-Men, and that's because that's 2000. So I think that's where once he was Professor X and X-Men, and that kind of broke him from just the Star Trek stuff. You know what I mean?
What else? Like he did like the Shakespeare stuff and like
DC
and the
movies, well, he did when he played Dickens. Or no, I'm sorry, not Dickens. When he played
Scrooge.
Well, he did that, but he also did the one where he's Moby Dick, where he plays.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so he did a lot of like TV stuff, a lot of BBC stuff, a lot of stuff overseas that came over here.
Yeah. So, but I don't think he's got that draw power that I think, and I don't think even if we're saying he does have that kind of draw, no one wants to see him as a bad guy.
True, I guess, yeah.
Like I know that's what he played a lot before he became Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah,
he played a lot of bad guys.
Yeah,
but after he played Jean-Luc, no one wants to see him as, he's everyone's favorite space dad. It's like I don't think anybody wants to see him as the villain, and he is, and he's a villain that doesn't make a lot of sense, and you don't know enough about. Julia Roberts and Mel Gibson are really the reason you're watching this movie, and I don't know if that's enough. No memorable villain, no memorable story. It's an okay watch. It's a good movie night movie. So maybe like we say, we never get to see the rentals. What they make in rentals.
That's true. But sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
This is a movie that would do better in rentals, and it went up against a decent amount of other movies as well.
Right.
I mean, I know they wanted it to be PG-13, but because of some of the violence and the subject matter of the movie, they made it R anyway, even if it doesn't have an F word in it. Which Donner was not pleased with. But I don't think that would help because Spawn came out and something else had come out.
See, here's the thing though with Mel Gibson, and because most people that get in trouble in terms of outside of movies, you never hear from them again. But like he's going to be in the Continental TV miniseries. That's pretty much the John Wick universe.
Mm-hmm.
He is in pre-production for 2 big films, the sequel to Passion of the Christ, Resurrection, and Lethal Weapon 5. I'm telling you, I know you think it's stupid, but if he does that, that movie is going to make a lot of money. Thank God you're out of the theater business, because that movie's going to be big. So he's still working. So I you know what I mean? Like, I get it, but still, he's still working, because a lot of his, I don't really want to get into his We don't
thing,
have to. We don't have to.
I think a lot of that is also, a lot of his thing was due to his alcohol addiction.
Agreed.
And although that's just bringing out what's inside of you, the demons that already are there.
Yeah, but like, again, he did, and he does
also so successful,
right,
that I think that he can still do some
well,
stuff.
he is. That's the thing. Like, I was going through all his movies in the 90s, and he's a huge bankable star.
Yeah.
Like, there's just like,
There
we're talking
are
like
very
Maverick.
few people that are as big as him.
Like his Hamill was 90, and then you got Lethal Weapon 3, Forever Young, and you got Man Without a Face, Maverick, Braveheart, he's in Casper, but that's uncredited. Ransom.
He's in Casper?
Yeah, it's uncredited though. Conspiracy Theory, Lethal Weapon 4.
Dad?
I believe so.
Okay.
Payback. Chicken Run. The Patriot is
I love
2000.
Chicken Run.
What
Chicken
Women
Run
Want
too.
is 2000. We Were Soldiers, 2002. Signs. And then The Passion of the Christ. And then it's like, that's where, once 2000, like Apocalypto, when he started directing his own stuff, that's kind of where,
It kind of dives off. Yeah.
a little bit. That's kind of where he kind of, it took a turn and all that stuff happened. But like 90s, he's like, he's making, I didn't even think Ransom made that much money.
But we always talk about, like, there's a fall from grace for these actors.
Sure, of course.
So it's like, but when you're that high in the stratosphere, the fall's not going to be as far as like other people.
Right.
It's like the cancel culture can only drop you so far.
Sure.
But you're still going to be a bankable star.
Sure. Absolutely. Where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com, ForgottenEntertainment.com. Well, while you're there, check out all the other great podcasts and video content we have for you. We might be ending, but the song never ends. A little Doctor Who reference for you. So check out all the other great stuff we have on Forgotten Entertainment. You can also obviously still listen to the rest of our 200 episodes that we have for you. It's actually 198, but we've done stuff for other people.
It's 16 times 13 16 season times 13 episodes is 208 episodes. 16 times 13.
Right. We are.
So it's 208 episodes. If you add in the episodes that when we're doing bonus stuff, we're probably at 230 maybe.
Sure.
I don't know if we're at 250.
Okay.
But we're definitely somewhere between 225 and 240.
We got a crap ton of episodes.
There are. They're out
so
there.
Go ahead and listen to those. Listen to the other podcasts. Wherever you listen to us, subscribe, rate, all that stuff. Still helps the podcast grow. We're an evergreen podcast. So,
yes.
Help get the name out. Maybe if, we do like 1 billion people.
Butler's
come back with some specials.
This is what Butler's hoping. Butler's hoping that someone discovers the podcast and reaches back out to us and starts wanting to pay us to do the podcast. That is what Butler's hoping.
That's the dream.
That's what I'm saying. I know that's what. Just say it, Butler. Just openly admit you're a whore.
Absolutely. I've never not admitted that. I've admitted that several times in this podcast.
So join us next week. There is one more episode after this episode, so go to it. It's the episode. We're going to answer some questions that people sent to us many months ago. And we're going to just answer those questions. And we're just going to kind of give us some reflections on the whole 4 years and all that stuff. There will be no crying. It'll be a shorter episode, hopefully. So join that one. Hopefully that's out now. But until then, I guess we'll see you later. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. Suck it up.